Our story today in the Gospel is indeed a very poignant story. It's about learned individuals finding something that they had been searching for. They're on a journey. Their journey was to find the Christ child. That was what was placed before them. Their indication was a star, which they followed. But like us, in many ways, they seem to have lost their way a little bit when the star stopped shining for them. They couldn't find their way. So they had an idea, well, he's in Jerusalem, so we go to Jerusalem. Should someone help us there? If anybody should know, the people of God should know. And they go to Jerusalem and they ask the king for help. We have, why are you here? He wants to know. A little bit paranoid, our Herod. And he tells them straight out, he says, we're looking for the Christ child, the ruler, the new king of the Jews. And he was troubled at that. He didn't like that one. But yet at the same time, he called all his priests and the scribes, and he said, where is this supposed to happen? How come I don't know about this? But he knew about it, but just like us in many ways, he wasn't really impressed with it. If he was a good Jew, he would understand what was happening in the Old Testament and the books and the scribes that were writing towards him. He would have understood that what was happening. But no, he was too complacent in many ways. He didn't have to worry about it. Who is going to take my rulership from me kind of style. And in a way, I suppose, we too have become very complacent. We don't realize in ourselves what the Eucharist is. We tend to think that it is just something we receive every Sunday. We walk in, we put our hand out, we say amen, and we go back to our chair, and we go on about our day's business. It doesn't seem to make any difference to us. There is no epiphany. And then, of course, we find that these guys come out from Herod after hearing the word, mind. That's what the point of this is. They went to Herod, they listened to the actual scribes and they all told him about what is going to happen in Bethlehem. The guys didn't know where the star was leading them, but when they got as far as Jerusalem, they heard the word. The Old Testament. It is written by the prophets. And when they came back out of the castle or the temple or wherever they were having the conference, as you could put it, they saw the star was once again before them. The star of faith once again shone in their hearts. And they went from there to Bethlehem and found the child. They found Christ. Now what did they do? They didn't come in and say, oh, look at that cutie little child, isn't he lovely? And kiss him and do everything else that we would do if we're politicians. Or we wouldn't just go in and say, nice child. Oh, that's for you. Good luck. No, it wasn't that. They had an epiphany. That's why they called this the Epiphany. They saw before them the image of God. And that epiphany was what struck them so much that they prostrated themselves. Here are learned individuals who see before them the presence of God. And they then prostrate themselves before the presence of God. It's only after they have humiliated themselves through prostration and paying him homage that they give him the gifts. We look at ourselves. We have the same structure in many ways, but do we know what we're doing? Do we have the epiphany? Every time that you come up for communion, that you receive Jesus Christ. That's the same epiphany to what these men had. It's not easy. And once they had that thing, remember, they didn't go back to Herod to say, oh, we found the child. They went home a different way, telling us that their mind, their understanding, their ways had changed. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to change. When we receive the Holy Eucharist, we're supposed to change. When we have that epiphany, that understanding that what we receive is that of the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ, our lives are to change. But we don't. We receive the Eucharist and we go off about our business. 9 times out of 10, probably, the minute you walk, even before you walk out these doors, you've left Jesus behind. You don't even think. And we don't. We have become complacent. We look at the Eucharist as something that is, oh, it happens every day. I mean, we're very like the chief priests and the scribes in our gospel. They've preached it every day. They have read it every day. They are happy with what they do. Oh, we are prescribed. We do the law. The idea of Christ coming didn't even enter their minds. Oh, it's going to happen. Yeah, you're right. It's going to happen. That's what Augustine tells us, you know. He says it's already happened. It's not going to happen. It has already happened. Christ is here. He is with us. Yes, he will come again and we will see him in the flesh. But we do see him in the flesh. He is already here. He is in the Eucharist. He is the Eucharist. That's the Epiphany. I never really understood the Epiphany myself until the day I was getting ordained. Until the day I had to lie down on the floor before Bishop Corrada in prostration before our Lord. It opened my eyes when I was lying on that cold marble floor at the cathedral. It's got an idiot. That's went through my brain. He must be a real raving lunatic or something because he made me a priest. Me, one of his unworthy servants, to bring Christ to those who are in need, to bring Christ to those who are his people. You are his people. That was the Epiphany. The first Mass that I said, man, I could hardly get the words out. Why? Because I realized the enormity of what I had to do. Bringing and making God present before you in the form of bread. That's a unique trick. Not magic. Not something that we just take for granted. Which I did for many a year. And still do in many ways today. That's what I want you to learn today. We had our family bring the 3 wise men in procession as a reminder to you that those men came from afar. They're not Jews. They were not people who belonged to the Jewish race. They were representing the nations of the world. That Christ is Christ and God to all of them too. That is an Epiphany. Even those who turn around and look at me and say, well, God is not just for one group, he's for everybody. That's true. That's what that's about. The idea of every person, whether you believe in him or not, he is there for you. If you say you're an atheist, you can say that all you like. More power to you. Walk away. But I got bad news for you. God loves you anyway. He became man for that purpose, that epiphany. He became that person. He became the Eucharist for you. So that you may have that sense each and every day of your life. That you will pay him homage and give him your best. They brought their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. For them, that was their best. That is their gift. Our gift is our souls. Our gift is ourselves. And we give it willingly to God. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.